For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
You are on StratNews Global. I am Nitin Gokhale. On this evening's Gist, our daily evening program, I have with me Ramanathan Kumar, a former Special Secretary of the Research and Analysis Wing and also a known specialist on the Afghan-Pakistan region or AFPAC region, counter-terrorism specialist and someone who studies Pakistan in great detail. Welcome to this program, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you very much, Nitin. It's a great pleasure to be back on the Gist rather quickly. But,
no, because the subjects are now lending itself or themselves to the discussions, and I thought Pakistan, the way it is going right now, and I think this is the subject which you know very well. So what I wanted to ask you about was, to start with, where do you see Pakistan at the current state as it is in? Because Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister, is trying to stir the pot. The government doesn't seem to have a clue where it is going. And added to the mix is the likely successor that they have to name for the current Pakistan Army Chief, which is such a big deal in Pakistan, unlike in other democracies. So let me ask you to begin with, where is Pakistan right now?
I think even by Pakistan's dysfunctional standards, the recent past has been a time of extraordinary turbulence. And this turbulence has really been the result of a rather public and protracted falling out between former Prime Minister Imran Khan of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party and his benefactors in the Pakistan Army. And if you recall that in April 2022, Imran Khan's government was voted out in a parliamentary no confidence motion.
Sure.
Even before that, of course, tensions were building between Imran Khan and the army. We can discuss the reasons for that. Sure. But when he was ousted in that parliamentary no confidence motion, the army professedly adopted a hands-off approach or a neutral approach.
Right. And
this is what seems to have greatly offended Imran Khan. And after that, it's really been a no-holds-barred kind of tug of war between the two sides. Many skeletons have come tumbling out, and in between, there have been developments such as the detention of associates of Imran Khan and their alleged torture and custody by the intelligence agencies of Pakistan. There was the murder of a Pakistani journalist,
right.
Arshad Sharif,
correct.
In very mysterious circumstances in Kenya. And essentially the PTI and Imran Khan directly alleged, or rather clearly alleged, that the army was behind all this.
And which led to that unprecedented press conference.
Absolutely, which led
by
to
the army.
by the DGISPR
yes.
and the DGISI,
exactly.
which is absolutely unheard of.
Yes.
And there the allegations of Imran Khan were categorically denied by the DGISI.
Right.
And then there was an assassination attempt on Imran Khan during the course of his long march, a march for Hakiki Azadi, as he calls it.
Correct.
And that, in fact, the assassination attempt, if you recall, after that, Imran Khan then further stepped up his attacks on the army.
Yes.
And in fact, he then named the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, and the head of the Counterintelligence Division of the ISI, Major General Faisal Nasir, as being directly implicated in the assassination attempt.
Yes.
Now these are all completely almost unheard of developments.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that you've been watching Pakistan for such a long time. Do you recall in the past, say, 30, 40 years, any Pakistani politician trying to take on the army in such direct way?
So that's a very good question, and this is not the first time that a civilian leader has really taken on the military establishment. In the past, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto,
Of course.
who was arguably, at the height of his political influence, he had even greater mass support than Imran Khan.
Yes.
But after 1965, he fell out with General Ayub Khan.
That's right.
And then he was very critical of the army, and then he had to be dismissed. He was dismissed as foreign minister.
Right.
And then again, after the
Post
breakup of
71, yeah.
post 71, in fact, it was Bhutto who, ironically enough, gave the Pakistan army, which was thoroughly discredited at that point of time, a fresh lease of life in Pakistani politics by sending them into Balochistan, where there was a renewed insurgency in 1974.
Correct.
And then, what happened was, and this is very reminiscent of what is happening now, Imran Khan, the Long March, and threatening to unleash anarchy. This is what happened in 1977.
Correct.
When, there was a rigged election. Bhutto rigged the election massively.
Yeah.
And then there was an opposition agitation. And to quell that, the army was called upon to fire on the protesters in Lahore.
Right.
And there were mid-level officers, brigadier level officers who refused to fire on their own people in Punjab.
Yes.
And Zia then conveyed a Delphic warning, as it is, as Ambassador Jamshid Markar put it, a Delphic warning to Bhutto that if the agitation does not end, it will cause divisions. It will erode morale within the army and cause divisions in its ranks. And soon thereafter, he sort of,
was tried and
overthrowed the government in a military coup and then set Bhutto to the gallows.
That's right.
That was one instance. And then Nawaz Sharif also, frankly, in his 3 tenures in power, has taken on the army, the most
rather unsuccessfully, of course,
and rather unsuccessfully. So this is Imran Khan is the last of the civilian leaders who's tried to take on the military establishment. But yes, I don't recollect in recent memory any leader who was so unambiguously and so vociferously, taken on the military establishment.
So, given that Pakistan's history is replete with the army finally getting control of whatever chaotic situation that has arisen because of civilian protests, civilian ambitious politicians, where do you see this going? Because there is also in this mix the attempt by Imran Khan to try and force an early election. Do you think that was what he was intending to do when he was trying to take on the deep state?
Yes, I think that's a very valid point. And paradoxically, despite taking on the military establishment, the underlying cause of all this turbulence that Imran Khan has unleashed is not really a fight for civilian supremacy.
Right.
To my mind, it is his belief, founded or unfounded, that if he has to be re-elected the next time, and this is possibly based on his experience of coming to power on the coattails of the army in 2018.
Correct.
He feels that if in 2023 he has to come back, he needs the support of the deep state.
Yeah.
And this is why, he clung on to Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, who was the DG-ISI.
Right.
He wanted to hold on to him when the DG-ISI was due to be rotated out on a routine transfer as a corps commander.
Yes.
Imran Khan tried to cling on to him because I think Faiz Hamid was possibly his handling officer in 2018.
Right.
And he wanted to retain him as DG ISI, and then make sure that he becomes the army chief
In 2022.
Absolutely, so that he would be around in 2023 next year
yes.
to get him re-elected.
Right.
But the army saw that as an unwanted sort of interference in his internal affairs, and that is what really led to the final break between the army and
Which is
Imran
an
Khan.
interesting point, because many people have spoken about Imran Khan's political astuteness or his ambition to sort of get re-elected, but this point has not been made. So thank you for that insight. But let's bring in the question of appointment of the next chief of the Pakistani army. Now, Qamar Bajwa is supposed to retire on 29th of November.
That's right.
And there are contenders, like we know there are 3 or 4 strong contenders for that post. Unless there is complete misreading of the situation by people like you and me, who are saying that Bajwa will retire eventually, because he has also indicated that. So who are these contenders, and who do you think is the most likely successor to Bajwa?
So it's really going down to the wire, and as you know, there are enormous pulls and pressures that are at play in Pakistan right now.
Right.
So whatever I say, I mean, I have to caveat that with a big if. The announcement is due any moment now.
Sure.
So there are, 4 or 5 leading contenders.
Right.
There's first of all Lieutenant General Asim Munir,
Right.
who was the former DG ISI. And in the normal course, he would have retired on the 27th, or he will be retiring on the 27th of November.
Which is just this Sunday, coming Sunday.
Which is 2 days actually before Bajwa demits office.
Yeah.
Now he's a pass out of the officers training school, and
not of the PMA.
Not of the PMA. So he is technically the senior most general, and he is still, by all accounts, very much in the race. And then after that, you have the officers from the PMA. You have Lieutenant General Sahir Shamshad Mirza,
That's right.
who was the former DGMO and now is the 10 Corps commander.
Yes.
You have Lieutenant General Azhar Abbas, who was the 10 Corps commander, but has now swapped places with Sahir Shamshad Mirza and is now the Chief of General Staff.
Right.
Then you have Lieutenant General Noman Mahmood, who actually was the DG analysis in the ISI,
Right.
and now heads the National Defence University.
Right.
And last but not the least, Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid Chaudhry,
Yes.
Imran Khan's blue-eyed boy,
Correct.
is also
Is still there.
Is still there in the race.
Yeah.
It does look, and again, Nitin, there's a very big if. I am frankly perhaps getting a little bit ahead of myself.
No, but it's based on your analysis, I'm sure.
All the indications are, if you put together all the bits and pieces which one sees, the government has announced that this announcement will be made, has said that this announcement will be made before November 27.
So which is Asim Munir's retirement date.
Which is a clear indication, which is an indication, a strong indication,
Right.
that it is possibly going to be Asim Munir. There will be, I think, quite a bit of bureaucratic, maneuvering to be accomplished in all this. And there is also the role of, the president, President Alvi, who is actually Imran Khan's man. He's a PTI man.
Right.
And the technicalities are that the proposal goes from the Prime Minister to the president, who has to sign off, and there is a lot of suspense in Pakistan right now, whether the president, what kind of a role he will play, whether he'll sign off or.
But the president is also playing kind of, I won't say mediator, but a negotiator.
That is right. He has
with Shehbaz Sharif's.
That is right. So
and envoys really.
So there is a lot of suspense, but. If it is Asim Munir,
is he an interesting man? What is his history? You would know that, and I whatever little one has read or one has heard about him, he seems to be the only man who has headed the military intelligence in the army and the ISI of late. That is.
That is right. Absolutely correct. Lieutenant General Asim Munir, Nitin, was he was the DGMI.
Right.
He's a Frontier Force Regiment officer. He was made the DGMI, picked up by the former chief, General Rahil Sharif, who's also an FF
Yes,
officer.
Frontier Force officer.
So during General Rahil's tenure, he was the DGMI.
Okay.
And then he also was at some point of time the force commander northern areas, which is a post which General Bajwa has also held. So it was General Bajwa who made him DG ISI after being DGMI,
yeah.
which is a rather rare occurrence in Pakistan's history. I think General Javed Ashraf Qazi was once the DG MI and also, but this has been a fairly rare occurrence.
Right.
So he became the DGI in October 2018,
right,
when he replaced Lieutenant General Naveed Mukhtar. And then General Asim Munir was the DG ISI when Pulwama happened. So he has been the DGI at a time of heightened India-Pakistan tension.
Right.
And then, funnily enough, he didn't complete his tenure. In fact, he's one of the shortest serving DGISIs also, because in June 2019, he was actually removed from the post of DGISI. And the reading of a lot of people is that he was actually removed as DGISI as at the instance of the Prime Minister, Imran Khan, at that point of time.
Okay.
Basically because, people have described Asim Munir as a straight arrow, to use the words of Shuja Nawaz, the commentator.
Yes.
And apparently, Lieutenant General Asim Munir as DGI reported or briefed the Prime Minister about alleged tales of stories of corruption and financial,
of people around Imran Khan?
In Imran Khan's immediate entourage.
Right.
And that was apparently not liked by the Prime Minister, who then wanted Asim Munir to be removed. And then Asim Munir was sent off, I think, to head the Gujranwala Corps after that. And that's when Faiz Hamid was brought in.
Right.
So Asim Munir had a short span of life as the DG ISI, and at least at that point of time, Imran Khan didn't seem to be terribly fond of him. So if he becomes the army chief, I think Imran Khan, to my mind, would have been checkmated in a sense.
By the army.
By the army.
But also,
and the last,
that's what.
The last point, the last but not the least, I think, which is important from our point of view. By all accounts, Lieutenant General Asim Munir is also a Hifz-e-Quran, which is...
What does that mean? Yeah,
he has memorized the Quran, which means that he can be described as a religiously oriented general.
Religiously inclined
general. In fact, there is a term used for this, a mullah general.
Yes.
And I'm almost tempted to say that if he becomes the army chief, then Pakistan could have a chief who could perhaps be described as a mullah general. And
this has happened before, earlier, any time?
Well, not the chief, but there have been instances in the past, and that is what I think leads me to look at this with a certain degree of caution. I can narrate two instances of religiously oriented, religiously inclined generals, as you put it. The first was the then Brigadier Zahirul Islam Abbasi, who was the defense attaché in Delhi. He was expelled from here, and then he became the force commander northern areas in the early 1990s.
Right.
And in fact, he launched a mini Kargil at that point of time.
Even before Kargil happened.
Absolutely, before the real Kargil happened. And it was equally a fiasco.
For Pakistan.
Absolutely. And I think this was possibly in in Benazir Bhutto's first tenure, or perhaps around about that time.
Okay.
It was again an unauthorized, of a local commander going beyond his brief. And I think they came to grief there. Pakistan lost, I think, if I've read in somewhere in Shuja Nawaz's book possibly, that they lost up to 50 men in that encounter. And then, more importantly, after that, Zahirul Islam Abbasi and a group of radicalized Pakistani army officers tried to overthrow the regime of Benazir Bhutto in her second tenure. And that is what led to General Abbasi's dismissal from the army, after which he joined one of the religious outfits, the Tablighi Jamaat.
Okay.
And talking of the Tablighi Jamaat, I am reminded of the second instance. This was Lieutenant General Javed Nasir, who was the DGISI in 1993 during Nawaz Sharif's first tenure as Prime Minister. And 1993, if you recall, was when the first Mumbai blasts took place.
Serial blast
of 1993. And Javed Nasir was heading the ISI at that point of time, and it was no accident, if you ask me, that Mumbai happened at that point of time.
That's right.
So therefore, our experience of having religiously
radicalized generals
in positions of authority has not been a particularly happy one. Now, of course, I'm not saying that just because General Munir is a Hifz-e-Quran, he is a radicalized officer, but still I think
there will be a fanaticism which is inbuilt.
Yes, it creates an environment in which certain forces will perhaps be emboldened and could fancy taking their chances. So all this, I think, calls for, although it is quite likely that Pakistan will remain embroiled in this political churn for some time. I think there's also a need for us also to be on our toes.
Absolutely. So I think it is not only in interest of Pakistan or commentators and politicians to keep a watch on what's happening, but it's also in interest of Indian security establishment to be on alert to find out what's happening there. Obviously, the watch has been kept. But this is a fascinating conversation really about Pakistan. The time is never enough, but I'm afraid we have to stop it at this. But let us see what happens, and maybe another occasion post the appointment of a new Pakistani chief, army chief, that we will have. But thank you very much for coming and talking to us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much once again, Nitin.
Thank you. So that was Ramanathan Kumar giving us a great insight into the maneuvers that are going on for appointment of the next Pakistan army chief. We will have more occasions, as I said, about discussing the likely trajectory of India-Pakistan relations going forward. But for the moment, I have to stop here. But do keep watching StratNews Global. You know where to reach us. Do send feedback and comments, which we welcome, so that we can improve ourselves and get some new ideas to discuss on various topics of interest to you, the viewers, as well as to us in giving you the information that is required from time to time. For the time being, it's goodbye.